How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Monster Territory, brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Final today, 5-1, losing to the Baltimore Orioles. This was a series that you should have won, in my opinion. I think this is a very disappointing series. 5-5 on the homestand. Let's be real here. There should have been at least today, 6-4 homestand. You should have won 3 out of 4 against this Baltimore Orioles team that has been wildly underachieving this year. The pitching staff has been absolutely terrible, but they made Dean Kramer look like Roger Clemens today. I don't know what else really there is to say. Life without Alex Bregman is settling in. They have not really been able to do anything on the offensive side of things the last couple of games. I don't know. Not sure really what to say about that, but we talked about this a little bit last night. We've talked about this, I feel like, for a while, but I think there's only one thing to do, and you probably already know what I'm thinking, but we'll talk more about this as we get into the show today. Walker Buehler, hey, he did what he could. He looked all right today. He wasn't quite looking as sharp as he was against the Mets the last time out before he got ejected. Remember that start? He was through 2 1/3. He had 4 strikeouts up to that point. He was looking very sharp. Not today, though. He was getting ahead of hitters, but not really able to put them away. I'll talk about Walker Buehler here in just a little bit. And then we're also going to read some fan reactions as well. After every series, if we have time, I try my best to look at some reactions from all of you at home. Before I go any further, though, let's get to today's sponsor.
Kratz, I'm going to let everyone in on a little secret. I am not a fan of carrying around physical cash. I go Cash App, where you can send, receive, or transfer money with family and friends. It's super easy. They've got your back too. Like if you're trying to send some money and you maybe put in the wrong account name, they'll be like, hey, this is a sketchy account. Are you sure you want to send this? Cash App has your back. They do it safe, securely, easily, and fee-free.
And all you got to do is download the app, and Scott can actually pay for his half of dinner.
Exactly. For a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, there's no catch. Download Cash App, sign up. It's very easy, and use our exclusive referral code Territory in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. I just want to say, before Arena Club, if you were trying to very actively buy, sell, trade, it was very complicated and used a lot of mail that was unnecessary.
Yeah, I didn't even know how to do it, but I'm glad we have Arena Club now because it's a one-stop shop for everything card-related.
It is, and right now you can get 20% off your first slab pack or your first card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FOUL. Use code FOUL. If you're a collector, you've got to check out Arena Club. Go get after it.
And right now, you can get yourself a Marcelo Meyer 2023 Bowman Mega Box card. And let's be real, this is a great time, if any, to go get yourself that card because he was one of the few positives today. Had his first major league hit and had a double late in the game as well in the 9th inning off of Andrew Kittredge. Marcelo Meyer, very good game for him today. He did make a bit of a slip up in the field, but offensively, he got the job done here today. If you're looking at some other positives as well, Jarren Duran had a fantastic day at the plate today, 4 for 5. Very rare that the offense doesn't really have much going for them when he is at his best. Usually, Jarren Duran, when he's on top of his game, he's the straw that stirs the drink, and usually the offense follows along with him. Again, today, a rare day where Duran has himself very nice day at the plate, but the offense can't really do much else. Carlos Narvaez had a pretty solid day today as well, 2 for 4, but the negatives outweighed the positives today. Rafael Devers, right? He's been red hot, so it's like, it feels weird even getting onto him a little bit. Not exactly getting onto him, but he was quiet today. The Orioles did a good job holding him down, but they wasted a lot of opportunities today. They were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Multiple times, the Red Sox just couldn't get anything going. They got off to good starts, but they just couldn't really seem to, keep the momentum going and finish the job. 3rd inning, Jarren Duran, Narvaez had base hits, but then Christian Campbell, who has been swinging the bat a little better over the last couple of games, he stranded them. fourth inning, Abraham Toro, he's been pretty solid as of late. He had a double, but then Hamilton, Cedame Rafaela, they stranded him. Fifth inning, Jaron Duran, leadoff base hit, but then Rafi going into the double play. Ninth inning, the game was pretty much lost. At that point, Marcelo Meyer had the double, which I think was very good, not just because he got a double, but it was off the slider. If you go back to his major league debut last night against the Orioles, he was getting owned by sliders. Low and away sliders, he just couldn't figure it out, but made the adjustments today. He found one that was a bit of a mistake pitch, and hey, drove it into the gap. Looked good. Even the first hit that he had in the game, just a nice opposite field base hit. Just a nice hard single there. The bat of Marcelo Meyer, it showed today. And he's got that smooth swing from the left side. Marcelo Meyer, man, hopefully he can keep things going here. Hopefully. Because they're going to need him with Alex Bregman out. Toro, he had the base hit right after him. That made it 5-1. Got to give a lot of credit here to Abraham Toro. When he was first brought in, you're thinking, all right, he's going to be, another, Dom Smith kind of a guy. He'll fill in, do what he can. He'll hold his own. But he's been doing pretty well for the Red Sox. Give him a lot of credit. But listen, you are witnessing life without Alex Bregman right before your eyes. They've only scored a couple of runs here over the last couple of games since he's gone down. Sure, they had the offensive outburst early in the series, but you're going to have to figure something out here without Bregman. This is a big bat that you're missing right in the middle of your lineup. It just felt like it was very obvious you were missing Bregman here. Carlos Narvaez, sure, doing what he can. He's been doing pretty well lately, but you can't count on Rafi to just put the team on his back, right? This is why Bregman, another reason why Bregman was so valuable in this lineup, right? Giving protection for Rafi Devers. So you're going to have to figure something out here until Bregman comes back. And this is why I think you got to call up Roman Anthony. And no, I'm not expecting Roman Anthony to come and save the day. I'm not. I'm not at all. To me, I don't need Roman Anthony to set the world on fire. I just feel like you need to have one more bat in this lineup to help stabilize things at least. Give you a bit more length in this lineup and, see what, Wilyer Abreu, Carlos Narvaez can do in the 3 and 4 spots behind Rafi. And then at least further down the lineup, at least you got more quality bats there. Again, I'm not expecting Roman Anthony to come up and, hit 50 homers. That's not what I'm saying. Just give you some more quality at bats, get on base, do what you got to do. And here's the lineup that I think needs to happen. I've been kind of going back and forth with this a little bit on what I think needs to be the lineup moving forward. But this is what I've come down to. Jaron Duran playing center field, leading off. Rafi still batting second at DH. Wilyer playing right field, batting third. Carlos Narvaez in the cleanup spot. I think at this point, Narvaez, especially right now, he needs to be somewhere around here, right? He's been hitting great lately. I think having him either in the 3 or 4 spot, that's where he needs to be right now. Roman Anthony, call him up, bat him 5th. That's what I think needs to happen here. This guy just hit a ball right around 115 miles an hour in yesterday's game for a home run to lead off the game. You need that kind of a bat. You need some thump in this lineup. Again, no, I don't think he's going to be able to replace Alex Bregman. I think that's silly to expect of a guy just coming up. But I think he gives you that thump. He gives you that presence. He's a guy that can do some damage. So I'd have him bat 5th. Christian Campbell, yes, he has been scuffling for a little while, but I still have him batting 6th, playing at second base. For Roman, back to him, I have him playing left field. Marcelo Meyer, I have him batting 7th, playing shortstop. Abraham Toro at first base, batting 8th. Nick Sogard batting third base in the 9-hole. Now, you might be thinking, all right, well, where's Cedame Rafaela? Where's Trevor Story? Where are these guys? I mean, Cedame Rafaela out of the lineup? Are you kidding me? Here's the thing. I completely understand the defense, the speed of Cedame Rafaela, but I think right now, until Bregman comes back, the offense needs to be prioritized. And Jaron Duran out in center field, I don't think that is a bad idea. I mean, Jarren Duran has shown, just going back to last year, he can play some good defense out in center field. Sure, is he maybe more comfortable out in left field? Yeah, you can argue that. But I think right now, to make up for the loss of Bregman, I think Duran out in center field, I think should be able to hold it down defensively, at least for the time being. And again, if you go look at the numbers from Duran out in center field last year, they're very good. So that's what I think. Right now, I think you just need to prioritize the offense, right? You need to get as many bats into this lineup as possible. And I think Duran can do fine out in center field at the very least. Now, Trevor Story. I think right now, the best option, Trevor Story. I know a lot of people are going to be out there saying, oh, he needs to be DFA'd. Listen, he's been ice cold. I get what, people saying that. Do the Red Sox do that? I don't think they do. I mean, that's a different conversation. That's a lot of money to DFA. The Red Sox have done it before with guys like Pablo Sandoval. The Red Sox, they look at Trevor Story differently, though, than Pablo Sandoval. Trevor Story, this is a guy that they love having in the clubhouse. They look at him as like a veteran leader of the team, despite not hitting very well. So a part of me thinks they don't DFA him, but as I always say never. Who knows? Maybe that happens. You never know. But Trevor Story, I think at least as of right now, when you look at the numbers, he does hit well against left-handed pitching. I would right now put Trevor Story on the bench and save him against the lefties. That's what I think. And then for Ceddanne Rafaela, I think right now he just needs to be in a utility role, getting into the lineup in different ways. Outfield, center field, some days Duran, however it may shake out, Duran goes and plays left, Roman on the bench, or whatever it may be. Bassetti, I think right now needs to go to the bench. He's been not very, very good offensively here for a good couple of weeks. He got hot there for a little bit, but I think for Seti, right now, I think the bench is probably the best place for him because right now, guys like Abraham Toro, they're hitting a lot better. Nick Sogard's been doing pretty well with the bat lately, but he's a guy that can play third base. I think this is what the lineup needs to be. And I think Roman needs to come up. Again, I'm not asking him to save the day. I don't think he's Batman by any means. I'm not saying, flash the Roman signal into the sky. But I think right now, with the type of hitter he is, the quality of at-bats that he's going to give you, the guy's on-base percentage is through the roof down in AAA right now. You need that up at the major leagues. To me, I just don't think it makes a lot of sense to keep that quality of an offensive player down in the minors. It just makes no sense to me, especially when you need offense. This offense is so inconsistent. It feels like I'm beating a dead horse at this point. How many times have I said the word inconsistent on this post-game show? I've said it a million times. You got to do something here. You got to find some stability. And listen, we'll get to some of the fan reactions here in a little bit. There's a couple that I read that I do want to dive into, but that I think are interesting. Well, that gets me, it goes a little further with the offense than just the players. So I'll get to that in just a little bit. But again, you saw it before your own eyes today. The offense, they were already in need of something before because they were so up and down. But now without Bregman, one of your best players, you got to do something. Now, Walker Buehler on the day. Walker was fine. Listen, better from, than what we've seen from Brian Bayo, Hunter Dobbins. But, it was weird because Buehler, the first batter of the game, Jackson Holiday, I'm thinking, all right, he's looking good. All right, looking like a good Buehler day. And then after that, you saw him getting into these high pitch counts. He was getting ahead of hitters, but he wasn't able to put them away. He was playing with a lot of different pitches today. It just seemed like he couldn't find that one out pitch to really get him out of things, right? Again, many times you saw like 0-2 counts, 1-2 counts, but just not getting guys to chase out of the zone. There was a bit of a difference when it came to the spin rates on the pitches today, so I do wonder if that was something where the Orioles started picking him up a little bit. Fourth inning, he had the sac fly to Urias. They made it 1-0. Fifth inning, Dylan Carlson had the home run. Dylan Carlson, for crying out loud, This guy hasn't really done all that much at the major league level, former top prospect, but when he plays the Red Sox, he just comes alive. I don't know what is happening with Dylan Carlson against the Red Sox, but there were also talks today, Walker Buehler, should he have stayed out there for the 6th inning? Same thing, with Garrett Crochet, 85 pitches, and then Walker Buehler comes out of the game. I think there was an argument to leave Buehler in for a little longer. I understand it, right? He is coming back from the shoulder issues, so they don't necessarily, I think, want to go crazy, but I think there was an argument for him to stay out there, despite getting into a little trouble in the 4th and the 5th innings. So, they went with Weissert, but listen, no matter when Weissert comes into the game, it's just, I don't feel comfortable with it. Whether if it's, command or he just doesn't have his best stuff that day. I just feel like Weissert right now, he's not giving you a whole lot of confidence. And the bullpen has been worked very heavily over the last couple of days here. And then Weissert came in, gave up the home run there, made it 3-0. Hendricks had the clean 7th inning. And then Zach Kelly, he got called up today. Luis Guerrero got optioned back down. You had the Gunnar Henderson walk. O'Hearn, he had a deep drive to right center. And this is where some bad defense came up, right? Seti had a bit of a bobble out there, ended up making a bad throw to the cutoff man, Marcelo Meyer, and it bounced off the runner. And this is where Meyer, he tried to, I think, maybe do a little bit too much. He went and grabbed it. He threw to third, ended up throwing it away. So then he ended up coming around to score. They made it 5-0 at that point. Again, we mentioned it earlier. Meyer had the double in the 9th inning off the slider, and then Toro had the base hit to make it 5-1. But the game was pretty much lost at that point. It's one of these things, man, where just, you could get, some decent pitching from Buehler, but then, the offense doesn't do anything. And then, the bullpen slips up a little bit. There's times where the offense can step up, and then the pitching is not really doing all that much. This team is just not firing on all cylinders. And I've said this before, something just feels off with this team because you look at the talent, you look at the players they have, and they're just not getting the job done. And I don't know. I'm at a loss in a way where it's getting a little tiring having to have the same old conversation every single night. But it is what it is. Now, let's get to some of the fan reactions here. So I had a couple of comments. I posted this on Twitter. If you ever want to try and get onto the show, I'll post this on Twitter, and then I pick usually a couple, and then I'll read them out loud here. We got here the Runnin' Red Sox. Let's take a look here. He says here, can the Red Sox do anything better than play 500 baseball? All I see is people talking about the players. Let's talk about the coaching staff. They've been 500 since 2018. This is pitiful. And honestly, I don't understand how they've kept this fan base engaged to this point. Now, this is, I think it's a fair question. I think it's very fair. Because at this point, we're just about to pass Memorial Day. You're under 500. You had a very good offseason. You brought in your new ace, Garrett Crochet. You brought in one of the top players in baseball, and Alex Bregman. You've got young, talented players in Christian Campbell. Right. And yes, they are going to go through their adjustments. Marcelo Meyer just coming up. There's talent on this team. You also brought in Walker Buehler. You beefed up the bullpen. Good looking team. A lot of people picking this team to at least make a run to the American League Championship Series. So you have the talent. And sure, you lose someone like Tristan Casas. But, even with Casas and, again, hope he's doing great. I hope everything is, going okay for him right now. I hope the rehab is off to a good start, but he wasn't off to a great start before that. He was still trying to find his way. Remember that. So you just wonder, this is a talented team. Why aren't they taking off? And I start to wonder a little bit. Now, I'm not going to be like the Boston radio guys at the Sports Hub, like, Felger and Maserati, or I'm going to say Alex Cora needs to be fired. I'm not going to be on that train, but you do wonder, is there something philosophical going on with this team? Is the approach not the right approach, or are they just not making the adjustments game to game? I don't know. You look at someone like Dean Kramer today, who took the ball for the Orioles. This is a guy that had an ERA in the mid-5s. This is a guy that had a FIP in the high 4s. Why are we making Dean Kramer look like Roger Clemens out there? Why? This is a guy that you should be taken to town. Even without Alex Bregman, you should be able to do something against Dean Kramer. I don't know what it is, man. It's funny because he was leading today with a pretty soft splitter. You could basically call it a changeup, right? It was like an 82, 83 mile an hour splitter. And the Red Sox couldn't do anything against this pitch all day. Sure, he's got that fastball. He's okay at changing speeds. He's going to throw that mid-90s fastball, and then he'll come in with that splitter. And the Red Sox, they're just hacking away at this fastball today, and they couldn't do anything against this splitter for the most part. They looked off balance all day. And, it's like, why are they able to figure something out against Tarek Skubal, who looked amazing today for the Tigers, by the way? What do you have, 13 strikeouts in a complete game? They can get to him, but they can't get to Dean Kramer? Listen, I get it. It's going to be two different things going on, but why can't this team hit a guy that has a mid-5 ERA, a high 4 FIP? Why? And I see you in the chat, Phoenix, Skubal hit 103 on the final pitch of the game. Why are the Red Sox able to get to him? But Dean Kramer? That tells me, I don't know, man. Listen, sure, no Bregman, but that shouldn't matter. I just think, and I get it, Campbell, he's still trying to find his way a little bit. But there's no excuse for this. And that's why I wonder, is there something, when it comes to the coaching staff, is there something where, the approach that they're taking? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I'm looking at the results and I'm seeing that you're not able to do anything against Dean Kramer. And that to me, I just think, and people will probably say, oh, they're not fully dialed in against weaker pitchers. I don't think it's that. I just think it's, once again, it's like you try to take the same approach. Like, honestly, the way they were swinging the bats today, it was kind of like how they were going up against guys like Skubal, these top tier guys. And I don't know, like they just don't. You go back to the Mets series when Ramon Vasquez took over. It just looked like, sure, they weren't putting a ton of runs on the board, but they were putting the ball in play. They were moving runners over, getting the sac fly. And then today, you're just trying to hit moonshots all day. You're trying to, go up against the velo and hammer it out of the park, but then 82, 83 mile an hour splitter, you can't do anything with it. I don't know. It feels like they're just not playing good situational baseball against all pitching. If you want to go for that go big or go home mentality against these guys like Skubal, okay, fine. Do what you got to do against a guy like that. But against these guys that you should be able to just drive out of the game by the third inning, it just feels like something's wrong there, approach-wise, mentality-wise. That's what I'm getting, and that's why I find this comment interesting. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the whole coaching staff needs to be fired, right? Because really, what good is that going to do at this point anyway? But then again, I don't know. I think something needs to change. And even though, I'm sitting here saying Roman Anthony needs to get called up, really, listen, everyone, not just the players, but I think the coaching staff, they need to come together here. They need to, I think, look at themselves in the mirror and try to figure something out. Now, we do have the Milwaukee series coming up here. And listen, we can sit here and complain about the split against the bad Orioles team. But the show goes on, ladies and gentlemen. Garrett Crochet back on the mound. I would imagine after the reaction they got with the 85 pitches his last time out, I would imagine Garrett Crochet, they're going to let this guy go to work. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball up to this point, going up against Chad Patrick on the Brewers, who's been pretty underrated this year. So just because, you might not have heard this name before, he's been holding his own. He's been doing a pretty solid job. His last time out, didn't go as deep into the game, but he went up against the Orioles and, held him 1 run, 4 hits, 4 2/3 innings. So, but overall, he's been a pretty solid guy for the most part. When it comes to Chad Patrick, he's going to go with a cutter. He's going to go with a fastball as well. He's got a sinker that he throws in. He's got a changeup. So you're going to see a decent amount of velo, and not really anything crazy, right around 94 miles an hour on average. But this is a guy, he's gonna work in different movements. The cutter, he's gonna work in the sinker, right? He's gonna go a little off speed as well. He doesn't go off speed a lot. This is where I could maybe see the Red Sox, kind of that go big or go home approach. Maybe they try to get some things done here against Chad Patrick. When it comes to off speed pitches, they don't do very well. The Red Sox, I believe, are a bottom 5 team when it comes to offense against changeups. When it comes to run value against changeups, they're a bottom 5 team. So he doesn't throw them a lot, 5% of the time. So this is where I think the Red Sox, they could have themselves a good matchup here. We'll see. Garrett Crochet, I'm expecting him to take the ball and try to lead this team to victory tomorrow, and I fully expect him to do so. This is your stopper. This is the guy every 5th day that takes the ball and says, all right, I'm putting the team on my back. So let's see if the Red Sox can get back to 500 tomorrow. Everybody, I'm going to wrap it up right there. Frustrating series. Sure, you had some good moments. You had the walk-off. You had the 19 runs. You had the Marcelo Meyer call-up. But frustrating moments as well. Let's see what they can do against the Brewers tomorrow. That game's on right around 2 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. We'll be back here tomorrow for the post-game coverage, and I'll see you then.